Chapter 35. Seems to me. Dylan joined the others on the patio, stopping first in the doorway and letting the sun warm him and take away the morning chill. Sitting beside Sky, the only empty seat left, Dylan informed everyone of his family's news. Sky gave Dylan a gracious smile. "I'm so happy for you and your family. What a difference. If only disease control kept a stricter quarantine, maybe other families would have the same good outcome." She hung her head. At Sky's words, Trisha bristled. "Or any quarantine. Cowards." She rose from her seat. "I'll get us some drinks." Trisha gave Dylan a sharp stare and a nod toward the kitchen. He followed her. Trisha pulled glasses out of the cupboard, and handing part to Dylan, told him to fill them with water. Suspicious, Dylan nodded, and glanced at Trisha out of the corner of his eye. What did she want with him? Trisha leaned against the counter, crossing her arms and tipping her head. "You aware that girl's sweet on you?" "Not again." Dylan tensed and snorted his disbelief. "Nah, she ain't. She wants to be friends. She don't see it yet, but she's figuring it out," Trisha insisted as they settled deeper into their local dialect. Dylan scorned Trisha's opinion. "Look at her, look at me." Undeterred, Trisha flung her hand out in Sky's direction. "You think that girl's afraid of country? That girl was born and bred country, she just wandered over the city line a bit, is all. Country ain't her problem. Be patient, she's had a rough go of it, but she'll let you know what it is, soon as she can." With his hands gripping the countertop's edge as he leaned back against it, Dylan snapped his jaw shut. He didn't want to discuss this, especially when he thought he'd just gotten it all figured out. But Trisha continued anyway, at the risk of sounding trendy, "It ain't you. Sky's got some stuff she's figuring out." Through the doorway, Dylan watched Sky as she curled up in the patio chair with Jessie beside her, whispering in her ear. Sky raised her head and laughed, her face lighting up for a moment before her grief came back to her. If it could work out. Dylan pulled his gaze away and shook his head. "Don't help to think like that." Trisha poked him in the arm. "I know what you're thinking. Don't give up on her, she needs you and more than that she wants you." Dylan rubbed his arm and frowned. "Stop poking at me. You know I hate that. What I know is, it's the best way to get your attention." "Stop it, Trish. We ain't kids no more. And anyway, a girl like that don't end up with a boy like me." Trisha puffed out an irritated sigh. "You forget we shared the same hills, D. I see you, and I see her. And you got it all wrong." She recrossed her arms. "Seems to me a boy like you don't know nothin' 'bout Sky. Here's the truth of the matter, and you darn well know it, there's no boy like you and girl like her. Not no more. There's just two people trying to survive." Trisha poked her finger at his chest. "Survive together." Dylan gave Trisha a hard stare. "Can't believe you're saying all this, what with Tom and all." With a wistful glance over at Tom, Trisha said, "Me and my husband have disagreed about you for some time now. You wouldn't have gotten in so much trouble if things wouldn't have been, well, what they were. On the other hand, I reckon that spat of upset taught you a few things. Things that are gonna be useful now. Because to survive, you will have to be the trouble." Dylan nodded. If those men on the road were any sign, that was true. Be the trouble, or the trouble will take you. Trisha moved to poke Dylan again, and he swatted her hand away. She frowned at him. "Are you listening, you big lug?" "Yeah. I hear ya." Dylan scowled back. "Now stop, or I'll tell Tom to keep you away from me." Trisha's eyes teased. "Big D. Always was scared of Lil' ol' me. I guess I was always too tough for you." A matching light entered Dylan's stare, taking him back to their younger days. He jumped toward Trisha, causing her to squeal and hop backward. They laughed, and Trisha gave Dylan a quick hug. "I care about ya," she said. "I want to see you happy, and Sky. You can do that for each other." Dylan glanced at Sky again, he never seemed to take his eyes off her for long. "I hope you're right, Trish." "I am," she said and handed Dylan a tray of drinks. The two entered the patio to find Sky listing the advantages of moving up to the mountain. Dylan set the tray down on a sage-colored plastic end table and added to the conversation. "There's empty cabins all around us now. You could have one." On seeing the drinks, Sky asked Dylan to pass her one. Quickly, he handed one to her as he reminded himself that this is what her kind of folks do. Nice people offer drinks, especially to people they care about. Wade leaned forward in his seat. "I got a lot of know-how. I can get any of them in fine workin' order for you. There's others who've made it through the AG flu livin' up there, got the makings of a little town now. Seems fittin' the sheriff would be up there too." Tom laid back in his chair and voiced his misgivings. "I feel like I need to stay here in Colton. There are people here too, and if the infected return and try set up house here, we'll have lost it." "And be safe up in the hills," Dylan said, "move up for the fall and winter. Then come spring, if we have to, we'll come back here and make a stand. We can watch them from up there." Tom glanced at Tricia and looked at the ground. "I can't commit, but I will visit next week and see how it would work out for any wanting to move up there. How's that?" Dylan nodded. It was a step in the right direction. "In the meantime, Dee, let me give you a radio so we can stay in touch." The day flew by and soon it was time to leave. The expression on Sky's face said it all, and Dylan laid a hand on her shoulder when a tear slid over her cheek. When Dylan looked back at Tricia and Tom, he couldn't miss the emotion that played across Tom's face. It was clear Tom didn't like Sky and Dylan getting close. And Dylan would probably feel the same if he were in Tom's shoes. Tom was the law, and he and Wade had rode the edge of that for some time now. Dylan stiffened. Tom may want Sky here, but things were different now. She belonged on the mountain with them. Dylan waited for the words he knew would come. After clearing his throat, Tom said, "I've got to thank you boys. Sky says you took good care of her. But Sky, you and Jesse can stay here now. You'd be good company for Tricia. I'll follow you back, get your things, and we'll be home in no time." Unsettled, Tricia glared at her husband. The men were still for a moment. It seemed like an order and that didn't sit well. As one, Dylan, Wade, and Jesse closed ranks around Sky. "Yeah," Dylan said, "we're gonna keep her." Tom bristled at Dylan. "You don't just keep, Sky belongs here." Before things escalated, Sky smiled, pushing Wade aside as she stepped forward beside Dylan. "That's okay, Tom. I'm keeping them too." Tom sighed and brought his hands to his hips. "All right then, I guess I can't say anything to that." Tricia swatted her husband before hugging them all. "I hate what this disease is doing to us. First, our business is gone, then our families, and now we are separated." "Well," Wade said, "you decide to move on up to the mountain, just haul your stuff up there when you come and visit. And bring some of those cookies." Wade sprinted to the kitchen to stuff his pocket with a few more. On his way back, Wade wrapped an arm around Jesse and slid him a couple of the treats. Sky waved at Tom and Tricia as she walked to the truck. When they were almost to the vehicle, Dylan turned and shouted to Tom and Tricia, "Hey, you know where we can find some chickens?"